The thing that I like about games like Dangan is that it's not necessarily scared to do what it wants to do. It essentially is for people of that variety that really wants to enjoy themselves, immerse themselves in a world where everything is crazy, everything is wild as hell, but you still have a good time at the end of it, right? I ain't gonna necessarily lie. I'm glad for a game like Danganronpa to exist. Even if it's not necessarily the most perfect game of all time, even if it's not necessarily the most best handed out with scenarios and different things that happen, it's still something that I thoroughly enjoy. It's still one of my favorite games of all time. Well, series of all time. And when it comes down to things, I really do like that, the creator of said game is really just making the games that he wants to make and not really chasing after trends or money or anything like that. In a quote tweet that he basically made, I think yesterday, he basically told somebody that was saying, "Oh, you feeling yourself with all these characters because there was Fight Tunes was promoting Raincode, which is my personal game of the year." He essentially said, "Because I only make games that I like, so I don't care if they sell well or not. Because it is more distinctive than perfection, it is not a game that will be liked by everyone. I want as many people with similar sensibilities to me to buy my games as possible." And right there, that is the same type of phrase that puts fear in so many other devs' hearts, right? And just so many other people's hearts in general when it comes to the sense of morality and the sense of it's a different time, or a sense of just, making something fun. These are the types of things that a dev would never really do if it's not going to supply them some type of money. Like if a dev have an opportunity to make a game that they really wanted to do and not worry about any of this stuff that kind of is like in our forefront face nowadays with the cancel culture and sensibilities and things of the sort, they probably wouldn't take that chance. Mainly because they probably will just get ruined and don't have to work anymore and, possibly be blacklisted from the video game industry and just in media in general. And it's not necessarily the greatest thing, which is why you see again more devs try to strive for money, opportunities, and try to strive to make games kind of need to make instead of the games they want to make. And in times that we have seen people that just make games that they wanted to make, I can't only help but to think about the Saints Row thing, when, they actually had a pretty decent plot for what Saints Row was actually going to be, but then they changed it into this woke media piece of nonsense that ended up killing Volition as a whole. And it's just like, well, what were you trying to do here, buddy boy? I'm not trying to sit here and say a game needs to be outright offensive or just straight up not necessarily giving a shit about what it's trying to do. But I'm saying that games should be, something that not only you're going to have fun with, but something that the dev had fun and loving making, honestly. If it's not necessarily having a soul and heart in there, sure, it may make money, but it's going to be just some type of carbon copy or feels the same like every other game that is out there, right? I refuse to tell you that Danganronpa or Raincode feels like the same type of game of every other thing, right? We see a lot of people usually be like, "Oh, all games right now are just boring as shit and they feel kind of the same." And they kind of do. They have that same type of weird feeling when it comes down to them, even though every game is very much different. They still have that same feeling when it comes to it. But when I look at something like Dangan or Raincode, I can definitely tell you that, yeah, they're doing their own kind of thing. And it doesn't feel like what all these other games are trying to be. Whether it's like this super AAA realistic looking game, or basically this game that is like cartoonish and basically talk about the mental health and feelings of people and morality and stuff like that. And while I'm not saying those things aren't important, I'm just saying that it just kind of gives you the same thing that we've been seeing over and over again. So what if, a game comes through and decides to be not about that, or does have those type of things in that game, but also does whatever the hell it wants to, and that's fine, honestly. I ain't saying it's perfect, because, people will complain about it, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. He's only trying to go for people that has the same brain as he does. And you know what? That's fine. Because guess what? Not every piece of fiction is meant for everybody to consume when it comes down to things. And I've said this even for my own damn web series of JSX4. it contains a lot of wild things that happen in there. A lot of crazy things that most people would not approve of. And that's fine. But at the end of the day, if you don't like it, it's not for you. At the end of the day, it's for people that has a similar type of feeling, vibe, and brain to me, and that's what I'm basically making it for, as well as making it for myself. Which also, I saw some people writing about the comments about the ending of that episode, which, yeah, you didn't see that plot twist coming out, did ya? We see so many people be so keen on saying that, you know, it has to be, or it feels like they have to be a part of everything. It has to be mainstream, it has to be what I want it to be, and if it's not, then it's raps for you. That's it. Put them on the chalkboard, call them canceled, and get they bitch ass up out of here. And that's just how it is across the board with a lot of things in fiction. Whether it's anime, whether it's games, whether it's some other person's work of art, or whether it's content creation on YouTube or streaming, doesn't necessarily matter. It will be hit with some nonsense of cancellation. And there's nothing that really people can do about it because they let it get to a point where everything sucks now. And you must be canceled for everything because F you. Even if we have to make up something, that's essentially what's going to happen, right? It's why for me personally, I'm not super invested into My Hero like I used to be. Mainly because fandoms keep effing the show over. When Horikoshi was cooking the first damn time, but you didn't let him cook. You said, no, we're gonna cook for you and with you. And so basically now we have an MHA that's feeling like a less good version of what it could have been, honestly. And then people still complain about the same bitch ass problems that really hasn't popped up on MHA in a long ass time. Deku's still crying. Bitch, he hasn't really cried in a long ass time. The only time he cried was when his friends tried to save him from being so damn self-destructive of his hero work. Which, valid time to start crying, honestly, with how much shit was going on. Oh, I can't stand Mineta. Mineta's such an asshole character. But you have all these other perverted ass characters that's in anime and you have absolutely no problem with that though. And same thing with him. He doesn't even do that anymore because Mina fixes him, which is also a forced hand on, you know, Horikoshi's part because no one would shut the hell up and leave him alone. Or same thing with having more lighthearted moments with the female characters. Oh, but we can't have that because everybody is too pissy and just don't necessarily give a shit anymore because they want to get what they want to get. You see what the problem is, honestly? Not just in My Hero, but this happens way too much across the board. An artist simply wants to draw a nice ass picture only to find themselves getting basically train ran in their face essentially because, oh, why is this character's skin so white when they're a black character or a dark skinned character? Oh, why did you make this lolly character out of nowhere when this character is a short stack, when even though they're literally not a damn short stack, you know? It's just everything across the board. And the thing is, no one really tries to get up on people's asses about the situation. Even certain news channels don't necessarily do it or just down with the bad people. And it sucks across the board, right? And then sometimes when you try to tell certain news channels about certain things about, hey, you might want to avoid this. This is not good. You might want to, you know, do something about this because this is bad and it's been happening to me or something like that. And essentially they ignore you until something bad happens to them and then they just start actually going off the wall. But my point is that you literally cannot live in this world without being attacked for 10 seconds. That is literally how it is, especially being a content creator and trying to do whatever the hell it is that you want to basically make. Kodaka to me is like one of those last few game creators that hasn't sold out, that hasn't necessarily been roughed up by people in some way and form, and honestly, hopefully it doesn't end up becoming some nonsense, because I can imagine it, right? People will be like, and people has already pointed this out during Danganronpa and, you know, the other work that maybe Kodaka has done when it comes down to things like, oh, why is there a joke about Himiko and her small hole? Oh, why is there so many bath scenes in Dangan with these underage characters? Oh, why Sonic is in a car? He can fast more than vehicle. Where's the Marvel Zone? Why is this happening to me over here with the Chaos Emerald? I'm going way off topic, but point is, or more specifically and mainly, oh, why do we have Kodako lifting up her dress to show her bloomers? You know, and I ain't saying that these moments aren't bad, because part of it kind of is, because it's like you gave a character a kind of serious backstory, and then you end up making fun of it, kind of, which, okay, but at the very same time, it's still fiction at the end of the day, so it doesn't matter, right? And that should be the big takeaway. It doesn't matter. Like, I am here to listen to criticism. I don't necessarily mind to listen to someone's take when it comes down to things, but it gets way past worse when you have people that basically just will not listen to the opposite side of their take and then just go completely bonkers on it, or basically just start harassing people, or start doxing people, or threatening to kill somebody that they know, or themselves when it comes down to things. And it's just so bad, and it's like there is got to be a way to, like, I don't know, get over this shit. But then realistically, there is no way, because everybody's gonna hate you for some reason. So as a creator, as a YouTuber, as a, you know, video game designer and developer, as some type of person, how do you get past this shit? What can you possibly do to, you know, circumvent the situation? You just don't give a shit. That's kind of what it comes down to. Like, if so many people on YouTube got canceled and able to use that cancellation for their next big ad revenue month, and essentially make some type of situation out of it where they extend it to get people to care and all this other stuff, at the end of the day, we might need to take a play out that book, honestly. Like, if that's what people are going to end up trying to do, be using it for their advantage, you might as well. Like, honestly, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to be an asshole person, or like this crazy ass, you know, weird dude or anything like that. You don't need to, but at the same time, you just really need to just lay it down and just be like, I don't give a shit. I'll make whatever the hell I want to. And that's just kind of is what it is, honestly. So yeah, and again, it's not necessarily for everybody when it comes down to fiction. And again, with Danganronpa, it's only for people that literally have the same brain as him. Mainly for people like that. Anybody can get into it. Anybody is invited to the party. But you best be prepared to believe that, you know, not everything that you think is right or you like to see is gonna happen in that game or in other pieces of fiction, honestly. It's okay to have an opinion about something. It's fine to not necessarily like anything. It's fine to basically like what you want to like. But at the end of the day, it goes so far and beyond that now, to the point it gets stupid real fast. And it's like, what can you possibly do but just say F those people and we're gonna do whatever the hell we want to anyway. Out of anything that ends up happening when you get canceled or anything of the sort, they just want to hear you say you're sorry. So that way, they basically put their call on you, and now you're basically the bitch of society. And that's something that obviously you don't need to do. Don't ever fall for that trap. The moment you bend the knee is the moment you hit the game over sign. That's essentially it. So at the end of all of this, when it comes down to things, I personally, for me, like Dangan and how it is, with all its jokes and everything in the story. Is it perfect? No, not by a long shot. But it's still a series I very much like, you know, to this day. If I didn't like the series, why the hell would the first 2 years of my YouTube career would be me using the damn Dangan sprites? That would be weird. But my point is, I enjoy what Dangan is personally. And I wish more artists and more content creators and more people just in general would just basically, you know, make whatever the hell they want to make. Not look at it from a money perspective. They can, but look at it from a perspective, what the hell do I want to create? And just do whatever the hell I want to do. Because so many people are so hyper focused on ESG, moralism, mob hive mind type behavior, and, you know, whatever someone else says that they don't like, I guess I'll agree with it too, because everybody else is agreeing with it, right? That's the type of thing that we have to basically fight against. And it's so hard nowadays. It's so hard, especially when a lot of platforms don't let you freely speak your mind. A lot of platforms have to follow these certain protocols, rules, and things like that. and it just makes things worse as time go on, and it's just so difficult when it comes down to things. If Danganronpa 4 were to come out, I don't know, sometime in the future, and there was a joke where this lolly character talked about having a piece of sausage in her mouth, and some reason it looks like it's some crazy white stuff coming out of it, or something equally absurd when it comes down to things, let the man cook. It is what it is. It's not real. It's not gonna bother you. Or at least it shouldn't be. And if it does, it's not for you, bro. You're not part of the audience it's looking for. I'm not saying that Dangan would do something like that, but I wouldn't be surprised one if it did. And then two, you know, let the man cook. It is what it is. So that's essentially what I wanted to say when it comes down to it. I originally was going to make this like a more Danganronpa focus type video, but overall, this kind of affects everything, right? Because cancel culture is dumb as shit and really needs to die, or someone needs to step up and do something about it, because ever since this Me Too shit, it's been whack. It's been absolutely whack, and you can't say anything without offending a single soul on the planet, right? It doesn't make sense. And the funny thing is too, people will follow moralistic stuff way faster than the actual smart thing to do than to follow logic, right? Because logically speaking, the world will be a little bit better if people start using their brains a little bit more instead of just going off of what they feel, right? You can't have all logic though and no morals. You gotta have both of them, but at the same time, you know, you gotta find an equal balance of that shit. It's not gonna be right, you know? It is what it is. And then sometimes you have moments where things of logic come through, but people don't want to believe that shit. But then when things get bad, you have to rely on that logic, and it is what it is. It's kind of why a lot of people don't read the Bible or don't really care about, you know, Christ and things of the sort like that. I ain't trying to go Bible school on you real quick, but there's a lot of reasons why, you know, people don't necessarily like the Bible, because it says a lot of things logically that people don't approve on. But then when sometimes things happen, and if you were to look at the book for 10 seconds, you know, it kind of tells you about certain things, right? The Bible is not based on your feelings. It's based on what logic God had, right? You know, strange videos to put this into, but, you know, your boy is religious, kind of, you know, or at least I try to be, you know? So I just like to chuck that in there just because. But that's essentially all I really have for you for this one, so hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on the way out. Also follow me on the socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And obviously throwing gifts is like a thing that you would like to do for Christmas, that'd be great. And until then, it's your boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.